Hi, my name is Barbara Gower. I'm from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and we're here in the Advances in Controversies in Nutrition Conference in Washington. And I gave a talk yesterday that was entitled Macronutrients and Metabolic Health. And I'll just give you a real quick summary of it. What we found is we did a moderately reduced carbohydrate diet. It was approximately 40% carb, and we compared it to a standard diet that was more than 55% carb. And we held protein constant, so the low-carb diet actually was a little bit higher in fat. And what we found, we looked at both metabolic outcomes and body composition, and we looked at it both under eukcaloric conditions and under hypocaloric conditions. And we looked at it in healthy, overweight men and women with polycystic ovary syndrome. And what we found in the healthy men and women is that under eukcaloric conditions, so they weren't really losing a lot of body weight, they selectively depleted visceral fat. And you probably know that visceral fat's that metabolic harmful fat that occurs inside the body cavity. So what we got there was a unique effect of carb restriction, even without weight loss, on selective depletion of visceral fat. And then under weight loss conditions, we dropped them down 1,000 kcals. The low-carb group, and this is all controlled feeding, so for both arms in the study, we fed them everything they ate for 8 weeks. So then under hypocaloric conditions, what we found is that the lower carb group lost more total body fat as measured by DEXA than did the low fat group. So this is all controlled feeding, and what people are voluntarily eating has nothing at all to do with this. So it's clearly a metabolic effect. Then we repeated the experiment with women with polycystic ovary syndrome, and we again found selective depletion of ectopic and visceral fat with the low-carb diet. So in this case, we saw greater depletion of visceral fat and also intramuscular fat, which is kind of that marbling that you see in skeletal muscle. We saw maintenance of lean body mass with low-carb, whereas we saw depletion of lean body mass with low fat. So basically, you get both a healthier body composition and less ectopic and visceral fat if you eat low carb, all other things being equal. We also measured metabolic health in the women with polycystic ovary syndrome, and we found improvements in insulin sensitivity, beta cell function, fasting glucose, fasting insulin. We saw an improved first phase beta cell response, and we also saw similar improvements in body composition. Also in the women with polycystic ovary syndrome, we saw a reduction in testosterone, which we believe was linked to the changes in insulin in that group. And with the controlled low-fat diet, we saw no change in testosterone. So in 2 independent studies with 2 independent populations, we saw very similar changes in body composition, body fat distribution, and metabolic health with a moderately reduced carbohydrate diet.